Welcome, everyone, to the Ogden Way Podcast, a place where we tell Ogden stories by telling the story of Ogden's people. I'm Ogden City Mayor Ben Nadolski, and today I'm sitting with Lisa Stout, Executive Director of Administrative Services. And what does that mean? It means she is a expert in a lot of different things. You run the department for us that has a lot of impact on our internal service delivery, right?
Correct.
And internal service meaning her department serves finance functions, oversees HR, fleet and facilities, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all functions that serve our various departments and the work that they do, right?
Yes.
So Lisa Stout, you are one of the kindest and nicest people I've ever known, literally.
Well, thank you.
Yep. And I rely on you a lot, especially when we talk about finances and budgeting, which for me, we're coming into budget preparation season for me. It's a bit of a long process, right?
It is. I feel like budgeting anymore is a year-round process.
It is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what are you working on now to get ready for my budget hearings and convening my team for my budget assessments and gearing up for my proposal to the city council?
Yeah, some really exciting changes, I think, Mayor. We are. You challenged me when you came into office. You kind of sat back and kind of watched us work and went through a budget cycle. You came in January. We were right in the middle of budgeting. Yes. And I know that first year was frustrating because it wasn't your budget. It was already sort of half-baked.
Pretty well set in motion at that point.
Yes. Yeah. And then we went through another budget cycle that I felt like you had more influence and input into, but you challenged me after that to really look for a way to do traditional budget hearings where we are really doing a zero-based budget process, where we are expecting the directors and executive directors to come in, justify all of their positions, all of their expenses. That way we know that they know exactly what all of their people are doing, where all of the money is going, and how it's benefiting the community. And wrapping that around a strategic plan that you and Mayor Brown have been working on.
Yep. I remember in the first budget, there was so much momentum already that there was not enough time or ability for me to make a lot of course corrections. And so I felt like the budget kind of happened to me. And people watching might think that's weird because I'm the mayor and you can say and do whoever, you know what I mean? But it just doesn't work like that because there's so much in motion with earlier directive. And so the next budget cycle I went through, I could see where I had opportunities for that input and how it played out through. And so now coming into my third budget cycle, I feel like, okay, basically when the last year's budget ends, I have to start giving and be really clear on what I saw and where to intervene and what implementation I want to prepare for the next one. Yeah. And that's where the zero budgeting came from. I wanted to be able to have a lot more earlier insights into budget projections and expenses. And right. Yep. So that's where we're doing a lot of deep dive.
Yep. It's interesting in government because, lots of things we don't do because it makes us a profit like a traditional business. So it's hard to do a traditional ROI on a lot of the activity a government undertakes. So I'm very much a numbers person. I'm very much, bottom line person. And I appreciate the perspective you have brought with the people and I think the KPIs that you and Mara are working on putting in place will help measure the benefit to the community.
Yeah, when you say the budget perspective with people, it's what is the impact for the people we represent and serve, right? How is this an investment in them, right? How do we justify this and tell them what they're getting for their money?
Correct.
Because that's the end point. That is the point. That is the why.
That is the why.
Right.
That is the why.
And it is easy to get caught in spreadsheets and numbers and so on, right?
Yes.
But we cannot lose sight of of the why.
Mm-mm.
And the why is the people that put us here,
Mm-hmm.
people that we serve, right?
Right. Correct.
So what does that process look like for us?
To turn numbers into activities and people.
Yeah, and just kind of how we're preparing it for that zero-based budget and the
mhm.
budget hearings and coming into when we convene my team.
Yeah, so this is going to become more of a cooperative partnership between finance and each of the directors of the divisions. I really envision our finance team sitting down with let's just say recreation. That's just something that we know the numbers that go into recreation, but what are the results that come out? What programs are we running? Ed Bridge was saying the other day that we serve 1,200 kids every year through junior jazz, and we spend about $20,000 doing that.
That's a good deal.
That's a great investment in those kids. So just pulling in that kind of data more, so that when we're sitting down one-on-one with you and Mayor Brown as the senior team at the city, you have the confidence that when we give Ed Bridge $20,000, he's going to accomplish what
Right.
you want him accomplishing with that.
Yeah, and that's the one that may be a little bit harder to measure, where you're like, is $20,000 worth it for 1,200 kids? And to me, that's a pretty clear example of
Mm-hmm.
of a good value.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've ever been involved in junior jazz, you know how many games they play and
Mm-hmm.
how long that goes on, and it's happening in gyms across the entire city during the week, after school, during weekends. That's a lot of recreation and activity
Mm-hmm.
for very little money. And I know that a lot of those costs are offset a little bit by fees, but
Mm-hmm.
also a lot by partnerships
Mm-hmm.
and grants. And so
Yeah.
that's part of how we're looking at each of these operations and giving our staff directive to try and drive down those costs. Even though it's a really good number,
Mm-hmm.
are there still partners out there that can help drive that cost down further
Yeah.
without putting it on top of the kids and families that most need to be served, right?
Right. And I think it goes back to kind of the growth mindset that you have challenged all of us to have, and the opportunity to work with partners in the community, people who really want to be involved in the kind of work that the city is doing. Let's just invite them in and make it better.
Right. And when you say growth mindset, what we're referring to is not necessarily growth in our city of population size and
Correct.
growth
Correct.
of
Yeah.
making our roads more busy. But we're talking about making sure that our entire staff has an ethos and as a mindset have a drive and a desire to grow and become better and be better in our delivery of our services, right? And the quality of our programming and the quality of our outcomes and impacts. That has to be an everyday, all the time, and that we're never done.
Right.
You
right.
never achieve growth
Mm-hmm.
or an endpoint. It's always
Yeah.
right.
It's kind of a living organism that you want
Right.
to see successful. So.
Yeah, and that we're not resting on our laurels,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
we're racking up some wins and some laurels and recognitions, and that's great, but it's not enough to just stop and rest on it. We keep on going.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I think what's happening, and that's a perfect example of Ed Bridge has done a really good job as a specific example. He's been bought in and all in on finding those efficiencies and those partnerships, and he's done a really good job and has adopted a mindset of internal operational efficiency and effectiveness, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're after in a lot of, especially when we're talking about budget,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just money saved, it's also hours and time saved, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. When you think about efficiencies, I think one of the best things we could do to serve the citizens of Ogden is find the efficiencies internally that reduce the hour load on individual employees, so we're not constantly feeling like we need more staff
Right.
to accomplish the same thing.
Exactly. And because there are bandwidth issues, challenges.
There are.
We do encounter them.
There are.
Our people are working really hard. But instead of just saying, give us more people, we're saying, what are you doing with the time for the people that you have first?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. To the point where we're actually having one department do a time motion study right now.
Right?
I'm sure that's really challenging for them because that's a lot of work to do, but just understanding how they're spending their time.
Right. Because we may need to reconsider the way we're spending that time
Mm-hmm.
and how we resource that particular function.
Correct.
And yeah, we don't want to like lock the entire place down with time motion study,
No.
but where it is needed, it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And it's enlightening when you get
Mm-hmm.
when you do that. Right.
Yeah. It is.
So it's fun. It's fun to talk about these things because these are things you and I talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the public's quite aware. That's why we're here.
No.
Right.
Yeah. We meet once a week, at least, at
Mm-hmm.
the very least once a week in our senior leadership team. And then you and I go to lunch, so we are talking about this constantly and your ideas and where you want to see the city going. And I'm my short little legs trying to find ways to accomplish that for you. So I appreciate the opportunity.
I know I'm a lot. I got a lot of energy, right?
Benergizer.
Yeah, Benergizer. That's what the staff call me, just so you know. Yeah, it's a lot of energy. They call it Benergy, but there's always a lot of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And really what we're talking about is operational. It's internal, it's operational, it's
Mm-hmm.
efficiencies, it's consolidations, it's finding things that we do that we no longer need to do, that we have partners that can do it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And this is all a part of my plan and proposal for how I want to keep the promise that I made to the people that elected me to keep those taxes stable for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough people struggling at the dinner table, so to speak, that we don't need to keep piling on top of that.
And you are very cognizant of that.
Right. And that message has been
Mm-hmm.
clear in the internal operation, right?
Yeah.
But what that does, and just from a leadership standpoint, is it kind of puts an expectation down and put my foot down, and people are forced to look internal instead of just kind of giving them the easy path to just say, well, we'll just ask for a tax increase.
Which I do appreciate. I do appreciate that willingness to put your foot down and say, this is what I really want. And
right. We have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, governments across the country have to do this. I don't think they all are, but it is a real thing that the government services, especially the most fundamental police and fire and infrastructure and things like that, we do have to keep up with the times in terms of inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are always escalating costs for these services, just like everybody else in the world, right?
Yeah, that is a challenge for governments. I mean, we really don't design our operations based on a point of sale. We are charged with providing services to our community, and we really don't have very limited resources to do that with. I feel like Ogden City has done a great job of being good fiscal stewards, but what you're talking about is even better.
Right.
Because now we're going to be good fiscal stewards who are looking for every opportunity to save money.
Correct. Maybe this will sound weird for some people, but it's kind of fun.
It kind of is. It is.
It's really fun to sweep corners and find this little nook and this little cranny to, okay, how much did we save? How much time did we save? And where should that time go? And then to have to find a way to transfer that time to the most important function.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge too, because not all dollars are the same. Some of them have different restrictions.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Especially when you have all these different funds and utilities, right? Enterprise and internal services and general fund and grant funding, one-time, ongoing, right?
Yep.
Property tax or sales tax. Sales tax has a lot of this and that.
Yes. We have no control over our sales tax.
Right. So, and then we have found a number of ways. I mean, you and I were looking over our list that you and I often talk about. This is just a list of internal things that we're working on listed by department. It's not all of them either, but it is quite a few. If I look at the list, and some of them are pretty geeky, right? They get really kind of wonky. So let's talk about a few of them. Like one of the things we did was, with collaboration being such a key value for our administration and in the context of the Ogden Way, there's grant opportunities out there galore, right? Lots of partners that want to help contribute and participate in the work we do. And those are really good for one-time opportunities, especially around CIP or
Correct.
capital improvement projects.
Mm-hmm.
Explain for them how we've approached grants.
Yeah, so we hired a grant writer in the police department. I want to say 5 years ago. I'm not sure how long ago that was, and we saw a real increase in the amount of grants the police department were getting, and then transferring the responsibilities, because when you take on a grant, there is often a lot of requirements tied to those grants for reporting and tracking, and not even until the money is spent, but sometimes for years after. And so it is a pretty heavy administrative burden.
Mm-hmm.
So this grant writer was able to come into the police department, receive more grants, take some of the administrative load off of people like Chief Ziegler and Chief Subi, and really improve their opportunity to look for grants. He does a wonderful job. And then in 2025, the council authorized a second grant writer that would focus on all of the areas that weren't public safety.
Right, for the rest of the administration.
Yeah. And the amount of grants we have applied, so we haven't really been able, it's only been a year since that position has been in place. So I think we're still going to start seeing the fruits. We've seen a huge increase in applications. And I think we'll start to see those awards come in and start to reap some real benefits from that additional position. And
let me put on my glasses again, just so I don't get the numbers wrong. But the last time we summarized all this, and I'm certain it's more now, we had 43 grants submitted for the general operations in the city, for a potential of $22 million in one-time funds, which would be new funds. But the key to grants is not just to go out and find money just for money's sake. It's to find money that's aligned with what we need and wanted to do.
Correct.
And sort of staging it, structuring it, and positioning it for the things that are specific to our goals. Otherwise, all of the burden that comes with the administrative requirements become really burdens, right?
Correct.
And then they become wasted efficiencies again. And then we find ourselves back in time motion studies.
Yeah, we're creating more work for ourselves.
We're creating more work that's not getting us to our end goal. And so that's where strategic plans come into place. But also measuring where we're going, which we're starting to do now too through KPIs, right?
Yep. Yes.
So, but if you look at just thinking about the police side that you mentioned on grants, that's how we're able to provide our homeless service advocates, our homeless medical advocates.
We just bought a new portable transport,
medical, mobile
clinic.
medical. We have a really strong victim advocate team.
We do.
We don't just that, and that is highly grant supported, right?
It is.
But in that case, our police grant writer has been able to find ongoing participation in that same grant. So we've been able to build a program where we're not just going out and arresting people. We're also doubling back with the victims, because that's who we're out to serve. We arrest people in order to protect the rights of our people and the victims, right? And that's something that's often lost and forgotten about in police work. But that's something that we do a lot of, and we do it with help of grants, right?
Yeah, we do. And those have been very beneficial. They're a federal grant that, And I think we've got 2 full-time victim advocates through that grant, and some administrative help.
Right. And I remember in my first year in this job, we worked at the state level, and we were able to increase the proportion of the state's homeless mitigation grant funds to distribute to us.
That homeless allocation to the city has been huge for operations and helping the police and the fire department cope with some of the challenges that the unhoused bring. And
again, it's nowhere close to covering the true costs of mitigating the impacts of homelessness on our city.
No,
but it helps.
It does help. It does help. Do you want me to talk numbers?
Sure.
Okay. I
see you brighten up when we talk about numbers.
I can't remember names, but I can remember numbers. Yeah. I just saw the report from fiscal year 2025 from our grant writer in the police department on the homeless work, And we spent, okay, I'm going to do round numbers. We spent over $4 million in work specifically related to the unhoused. Of that, about 3.9 million was supported by a grant. And so there was a delta of about 600,000 that the
Nice.
city had to absorb.
That we absorb and cover, which is still a lot of money, but it's a lot better than the 4 million.
Correct.
But there's also, when we talk about impact mitigation, we're talking about the impacts on public services for refuse and cleanup, police response times, or response cases and follow-up.
The impact on parks.
Right. Vandalism impacts on victims and victims' rights and advocacy.
That really impacts the community.
Yeah. If you want to talk numbers too, I don't know if you have specific numbers yet, but the medical advocate position has got enormous potential for first saving pain and suffering for people, and then saving in our operational costs and efficiencies.
Well, and also I would probably say a benefit to the hospital too. That I think often folks in that situation end up in the emergency room, and this is an effort to help.
Right. I don't know if there's another city in the nation doing this.
I don't know either.
What we're doing is meeting people in need where they're at, primarily at the shelter, and we've positioned a EMT at the shelter, and she has been incredible. Angie has just really embraced the role and has gotten to know our unhoused population on a much more personal level, knows what their needs are. She establishes a relationship of trust with them, and they come to her with medical need, but they come to her early, and that's the key. And so she's able to give them like early intervention, and it's more minor little things before they turn into major. Right. And she can consult with doctors and physicians. But what we're doing is we've measured and saved on medical transports from our fire department being called out on a 911 to transport to the emergency room. Right.
Yep.
And then imagine all of the busy cases that are not in the emergency room now. What that does for wait times when our community goes for emergency services at both hospitals. And then think about the cost savings to the hospital and how that theoretically in the big picture should translate into cost savings for healthcare down the road.
That's the hope. That's the hope. And it seems like I think a government really best serves its people at the closest level.
Right.
It just
does.
Seems common sense.
Common sense is the key. I'm all in on common sense. But I think we have an opportunity because we're measuring again, because of our KPIs, because we're data driven in our efficiencies and consolidations, that we're going to be in a position after we see how this service works and how it already is working. We're going to be able to present receipts to the two hospitals, which are private partners, and say, we're saving you money. Again, we're doing this, saving them money using grants. So we're not using tax dollars, city property tax funds.
Exactly.
But we can show with receipts how much we're saving them and then ask for a contribution back from those savings in order to serve our people more and help them with their health, and in return save them again on their bottom line. Right?
Yeah.
That is really good governance.
It is.
Right?
It is.
But it's also good service for our people. That's better health outcomes. That's improving markedly and measurably community health, right?
You're meeting a need that's out there.
Yeah. And you know what else it does? Is it saves that fire station. Its highest call volume to that was to Lantern House, and the burnout that was happening for our firefighters was causing turnover. And then we would have to rehire, retrain, invest tens of thousands of dollars into that one person for the replacement, lose all those years of experience. Yeah. Right?
True.
And instability that it causes. So then we would, in a traditional approach, we'd have to add more firefighters, add more apparatus and expensive equipment to meet the need. We're going deeper.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. If we solved the solution with just adding more bodies,
we're just
you're
piling
exactly
on top.
you're exactly right. That's what would happen.
Right. But because we put our foot down and said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to hold the line.
Let's look at this
and we're going to
differently.
drive efficiencies and look at this different. Now it's changing mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that over time changes culture.
Yes.
So not something that the public sees much of.
No.
It's an internal thing.
It is an internal thing.
That's why we're talking about it here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. We do a lot of those. We're looking for a lot of opportunities to do those kind of things. And I wish they could all be as successful as this. But I do think that, you've got some really good directors and executive directors who are creative, out-of-the-box thinkers that I think can really...
Right.
Yeah, I think this first budget year might be a little rough.
Yeah, maybe.
We're all going to grow a little bit. That's just how I look at it. So
growth doesn't happen without a little bit of pain.
Yeah, a little feathers might fly.
A little discomfort. Yeah.
Including myself. So...
Yeah, but we don't shy away from the hard stuff.
No.
I think there are people that get offended by things like that, but we're not doing it in an offensive way. But we're just challenging ourselves.
Correct. And I like the point that you made that we're challenging ourselves. You have not done this in a way that is damaging to any person. You have been very, very kind and very patient, Mayor.
Appreciate that.
Allowing us to get in line with what you're asking for. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to see what we can accomplish.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you said patient. I don't feel like I'm very patient, but there's a balance between, because we have to create buy-in. This is a leadership challenge for me in this.
We do.
Role.
You have how many 900 employees that.
Right. We got to get as much buy-in as we can for the mission and the vision that we are executing on, because buy-in creates ownership, and when you have ownership in something, you take initiative, you have accountability, and we want as much of that as possible. But we are at a point where it's like, okay, if you're not on board, now it's time for directive, straight up, straight talk, straight directive. You will.
Yes, correct. Mara said to me the other day, the mayor and I don't have time to beat around the bush. We just need straight talk. And I thought, good, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true.
It is. It is.
The people we serve and represent are struggling in this economy and in this time right now. Just the cost of living and the pressure on families is so real that they don't have time for us to be nice forever. I think people understand the need for ownership and buy-in.
Yes.
But at some point, we're like, okay, get on board or get out of the way.
Yes. Yes.
And they expect us to be those leaders.
Yes. And you've taken steps to put us in the right place. And I really think that I think we can carry your vision, and I think we can do some great things with it.
I appreciate that. I have to think that people are wondering, because we haven't even brought up AI, but the world, I think I read today that Time Magazine is calling AI like Person of the Year or something.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that was true, because I saw it online. So there's a lot of things online I don't believe, just so you know. So I'm like, I should have even mentioned it if I can't confirm it. But the point is, AI is taking over the world in a lot of ways, right? And a friend of mine, we were talking at a basketball game, a dad of a teammate from my daughter's, he said that his boss said, AI isn't going to replace you. AI is going to replace the people that don't buy into AI. Right?
That's a really good statement.
It was. It was really powerful, and we have bought into AI, and we are using it in a lot of different ways, right?
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It is a very powerful tool that I think really can benefit the city and the citizens, but it has to be used responsibly.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But do you want to talk about some ways we're using it to
help
consolidate some efficiencies? And things?
Yeah, one thing I'm really excited about, Mayor, and we'll be doing a demo of this little app that we've built. We had someone come in and help us, and it was kind of built around our process for legislative review.
There you go.
And the legislature puts out a lot of bills every year. I don't even remember the number.
More and more every year.
More and more every year, and it is challenging. when you already have a full-time job, to then go and study that legislation and understand every consequence that it's going to have for the Ogden City. And we have a lot of, professional assistance in helping us, UGFOA, the UACPA, just from my perspective on finances, that they'll weigh in on what they feel like a bill will do for a city. So we do get information that way. But the time it takes for one person to sit and read through everything and understand, I don't know. I don't really like reading state law.
They are tough. It's tough. Yeah. Well, in each bill file, some of them are hundreds of pages.
Yeah. So we have created an app that's a legislative app for using AI that will help us identify the bills we need to be more concerned about than the others. This isn't to replace any human review of these bills. This is simply to help us narrow down what we need to be focusing on. So I'm excited to see how that process goes, if it can make us a little more effective this year with the legislative process.
And I know about this one personally because I have to spend so much time at the Capitol during the legislative session, but I found myself down there. I have to rely on a lot of different expertise. The bills that affect municipalities are in the hundreds every year. We work with the League of Cities and Towns. We have our own lobbying team down there. We have our own staff that come and engage when needed. But how do we make sure we're not missing something when there's thousands of bills? Each bill can be hundreds of pages, sometimes thousands.
And sometimes it's one little word.
Sometimes a may versus a shall changes everything.
It does.
And so we had a tracking system that was pretty antiquated when I got here. And,
very, very human driven with spreadsheets and
So if you know the legislative process, you know that bills are updated all the time. There's new calendar readings and new drafts that get adopted and presented. Sometimes they're just posted for public awareness, and then before they're adopted and advanced, each bill has to go through like 3 reading calendars before it's finally passed off each side of the House. So there's a House, and then it has to go back to the Senate, do the same thing. They're traveling through committees. It's just a really daunting process to track hundreds of bills at a time. So we had staff members individually across the city doing human tracking of every single bill that affected their functions. And it was so inefficient.
So inefficient.
I mean, thousands of hours of time just so that I would have the information I needed when we were talking to
and then if someone couldn't keep up.
Right. We were missing all kinds
of
things.
Yes.
And so I came back and I said, this isn't working. This is wasting too much time and it's actually not finding the information I need. Because I was finding things just in my interactions that I'd go back to the system weren't being caught. And I'm like, what is going on? Like perfect example of wasted time and energy. Hugely inefficient. Right?
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to having more support. And really what the system's going to do is it's going to kind of alert us to things that change.
Correct.
And then we can just focus on the change instead of re-reviewing the hundreds of bills again, hundreds of pages of bill, right?
Yep.
Lines and lines. That's a lot across all of the different departments and staffing.
It's overwhelming.
That was so overwhelming and cumbersome for the city that other things were taking a back seat for service deliveries. Right?
Yeah.
So now we can focus on those essential service deliveries and functions.
Yes.
And let AI help inform and alert us. And now we'll dig into the specific human review needed. Yes. Right?
Yes.
It's good stuff.
I think it will be a big improvement. And then, with the continuous growth mindset, we'll make it better from there.
We'll see how it works, make improvements, and then see how it works again and make improvements, right?
Yeah.
It's what we do.
It's what we do.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about your work?
My favorite part and the most challenging part about my work is the people.
Who, what, me?
Yes, you. No.
100% yes.
I am such an accountant. I got my degree from Weber State. I was an intern at Ogden City when I was in my master's program at Weber State, and I am very much an accountant. And so I remember when I got my first job. I'm sorry, Mayor, this is sort of
You're good.
my the partner at the firm I was working for told me, do not walk around like a robot. Say hello to people. And so that has really been something I have strived to do in my career, not just be so focused on, I do get focused on numbers,
For sure.
but to see the people and to grow people. That's kind of what my job has more become is growing people so that there are people in place to do better than I did.
Right.
And that has been so rewarding for me.
Well, you just described leadership.
I love ticking off, getting something done, but I love seeing someone that I've worked with succeed and accomplish more.
Yeah, that is less in the category, in my view, of fun and more in the category of fulfilling.
Okay, fulfilling.
Isn't it? I mean, it just feels good to help people become their best selves, right?
It does.
And that is the challenge of leadership. That's why you're in your position, right? Is to help develop and support people to drive and become their best selves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to get too wrapped around the axles about which programs we're going to do, because I think there's 100 ways to do a good thing. And I don't ever want to be so invested in the way we do something as a city that I'm not willing to see that there's a better way to do it or a change that could be made.
Right.
And I hope that's trickling down to my staff, at least, that because we are going to see a lot of changes, Mayor, I think in the next year, especially. And I think it's important that we're all open to critique and criticism and willingness to change. And it doesn't mean we've done a terrible job in the past. It just means we can do better.
That's correct. I remember in my inauguration, I talked about modesty. That we do have to have a sense of modesty that, sure, if we're doing things well, it doesn't mean we can't do it better. But we also have to have the willingness to confront our own ego and say, have we been doing well here? Have we really? You know what I mean? And there's plenty of times where we haven't.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I don't want to be the politicians out there just saying everything's rainbows, and because there's challenges all around.
Yeah, running the city is not easy. There are some very serious problems and challenges that have to be addressed and dealt with. State laws that have to be, followed. Federal laws that have to be followed.
Right. It's new federal mandates that come from new administrations. It's
very complex.
Very complex. Every legislative session, we have to go back and correct for a lot of different things because state laws changed. It's a lot, right? And of course, there's always armchair quarterbacks.
Yes.
Lobbing bombs at us from the outside, but that is the job, right?
It is.
It is the job. So I look forward to our upcoming budget hearings, where we'll scrutinize purchases and scrutinize, expenditures and how they're tracking with budgets and projections and expectations. But I also really enjoy how we've found efficiencies in time spent. That time is money here, right? And I appreciate that you come and talk with us today about these things, right?
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. Is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to cover?
No, I've been with the city for several years now, and I've appreciated your fresh approach, and I've appreciated the Ogden Way, and I think it will do great things for Ogden going forward. I
appreciate it. I think people are understanding more and more as to the power of this approach, and I think we're not in just a moment. I think we're in the beginning of a movement, because the Ogden Way starts with values, but it builds out into strategic alignment internally, and it dovetails with strategic alignment externally. In fact, just today, the Standard Examiner printed a sit-down interview we did with the editorial board and a bunch of our nonprofit partners. We are achieving alignment not only with ourselves, within ourselves, but with our many, many, almost countless partners externally. And those are ways, too, that we can find efficiencies and say, we don't have to be doing this here. We already have partners out in the community doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But instead of just quitting the service, kind of like what the federal government's doing a lot of. We're not just saying we're not just doing it. We're just bringing in a partner, bolting it on, and saying we're all on the same mission, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's going to be another hallmark of the upcoming budget, I think.
That's awesome.
More of that, even.
Okay,
That'll be good.
great.
Okay,
I'm excited.
Lisa Stout, thank you for sitting with us today, but thank you for sitting with me every week, having these discussions over lunch every month, and kind of taking the directive and the vision and running with it. Just put it into motion. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's really frustrating when people don't. But you've never been one of them.
Well, I appreciate that, and we can all improve.
That's right.
So.
Okay. I guess let's finish our episode on that. We can all improve. We finish every episode with a call to action. Just a way to take the discussion we've had and reflect it back on for ourselves. But if you're thinking about your own finances, or if you work for the city, because a lot of the employees watch these episodes, what are you working on today and every day, and that you think could be done better, right? Find ways to improve every day. If you know of something that's not already on our list, let's add to the list, build it into the model and the program of efficiencies that we're driving. And let's put your innovation and your drive for constant growth to work, and let's be transparent about how it benefits our public, right?
Yep.
Looking forward to the State of the City, where we'll unveil more details around some of this, and we'll have some exciting announcements around internal operations and how we're driving executive leadership and executive efficiency.
Great.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. But until then, I'm Mayor Nadolski. This is Lisa Stout. We are Ogden City, and this is the Ogden Way Podcast. Make sure you get out there, do good things for good reasons, and everything will work out at some point, right?
At some point.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Until next time, be good.